said, in the great words of Taylor Swift, welcome to New York.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you doing? Good. Terribly English, but I'm really hot. I walked here from uptown and got really, really hot.
It is. We finally got the summer, though. We're glad to, it's been rainy and dreary up until this week, really. And ironically, in Ireland, it's also 80 degrees today, so I don't really quite know where I am.
Actually, in London as well, as soon as I left, it got pretty hot. So.
Why does that always happen? Anytime you go on vacation, it's like a summer holiday wherever you left.
Yeah.
It's typical.
Well, at least I'm in New York. Thank you very much for having me.
And is this one of your first times here?
This is the first time with Toothless.
Okay.
With my previous band, Bombay Bicycle Club, we came 4 or 5 times over the years. But
several times.
First time with the new project, yeah.
First time solo, all by yourself.
I know.
So this is the cover art for The Pace of the Passing, and this album came out February 3rd, right, this year?
Yes, over here it came out February 3rd.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. But on another side of things, just on Friday, you dropped a new EP called Palms EP. So tell us a little bit about that. And what that is in relation to the album.
So this album I made from leaving Bombay Bicycle Club over the last 2 years. Kind of put it together with the help of Jack from my previous band and other people. And when I'd finished it, I'd built this studio in my garden. So I kind of wanted to work on new music and practice my production.
Yeah.
And really, the EP is kind of just me having fun, me trying new stuff, new sounds and such. So it's just good fun, really.
So it's reworked versions of some of the songs on this.
Reworked versions. Originals. And one new original song called Chasing Goddo.
Yeah.
And then a Sufjan Stevens cover, actually. And I think he recorded the original song in Brooklyn, round the corner. So
he recorded where in Brooklyn?
Oh, I didn't. Sufjan Stevens did.
Sufjan Stevens did. Okay, very good. So I want to backtrack a little bit. So you were saying you built a recording studio in your back garden.
Yeah, I moved into
how did that all happen?
a house a couple of years ago, and there was a breeze block shed at the back of the garden. And me and some friends last year kind of soundproofed it ourselves. I say I did it. I mean, I kind of stood around watching.
The egg cartons, or what was it?
No, we did it properly.
Okay.
They actually knew what they were doing. I just stood around with my hands in my pockets making tea and stuff like that. But
someone has to make the tea, though. You're the moral support, the morale booster.
Yeah, I was that guy looking over their shoulder.
Telling them what to do, the backseat worker.
Yeah, I haven't talked to them for a long time, actually. So we built this studio, and then I finished recording the songs Charon and Sisyphus for this album in that studio, and then just started writing the next record and making music for fun, which is effectively what the EP is. Okay,
so talk to me then about some of the reworked versions of it, because I know you have a rework of Sisyphus, first of all.
Yep.
So what is the story behind that song? So I know it has an interesting story of when you wrote it and the theme of it, and then talk to me about how it was reworked into a different version of it. Almost an evolution, I guess, of the song.
From beginning to start?
Yes.
Song exploder style. I started writing songs with Greek myths and other stories in mind. I didn't really know what to write about myself because my life is actually incredibly boring. I don't think anyone would like to listen to an album about it.
Yeah, I read that you said that, and I was like...
I mean... There's not much intrigue.
Huge band for 10 years.
Yeah, but no one really wants to listen to that, you know.
Yeah, true.
No one wants to listen to Coldplay's new music.
Boring.
It's all it's very settled, very normal. There's not much intrigue there. So I started using stories, and I started using Greek myths in particular to kind of use as a metaphor for my own life because I didn't really know a way in. You know, I don't know, like Nick Drake and Nick Cave, people like that use other stories or they tell stories to get their own influence and experience across. So I started using Greek myths as I thought it was all there, you know, it's laid out for you. And the story of Sisyphus is about a man that rolls a boulder up a hill every day, only for it to roll back down. And I thought that was quite relatable, the idea of doing something day in, day out. And then I applied it to a relationship, you know, where you're there for someone no matter what, no matter how many times they mess up, you'll always be there for them. So kind of the repetition, the kind of going back to the beginning every time. And yeah, that's what Sisyphus is about. And
then the original song on the new EP, Chasing Goddo.
Chasing Goddo, yeah.
So it is based on the Samuel L. Beckett Waiting for Goddo.
Waiting for Goddo.
So what's the story about that, and then how did you change it to suit your song and make it Chasing Goddo rather than Waiting for Goddo?
Oh, so Waiting for Godot to play with two people that just sit on a bench for the whole thing, and they're waiting for a character called Godot to come along. Never comes along, and it's kind of a metaphor for life and how we're all inevitably doomed just to wait for nothing. Nothing's going to happen. And I don't particularly like that message. I like the idea of, going out and getting it. So chasing Godot as opposed to waiting for.
Nice.
Positive spin on something absolutely
absolutely
horrible.
Because I was like, this is all very gloomy, but now it's becoming a lot more uplifting. My favourite song, my favourite song on The Pace of the Passing was Palm's Backside.
Thank you.
So Palm's Drone, which is on the EP, and the EP is called the Palms EP.
Palms EP, yeah.
So what is the theme of the Palms thing? And then tell me how Palm's Drone is an evolution from Palm's Backside.
So Palm's Backside is the whole song's kind of looking back on a relationship and being happy without the relationship. You either have breakup songs where you're better than the other person or they're better off than you and you're kind of resenting them. It's kind of looking back and everyone being happy where they are. Mm-hmm. And then the idea is knowing someone like the palm's backside, which is the back of your hand. But
And then why did you change it to Palm's Drone for the EP?
Well, that version's just based on a drone, It's the organ loop that kind of goes round and round with me singing over it.
So before we came up here, I was telling Ed that listening to that song, it really, really reminded me of another huge song that came out. I must say, it came out exactly a month after his came out. So this is a compliment to you, Ed.
Yeah.
And it's from another Ed. And it's all about, the theme is, right, it's like you see someone that used to be dating and then you see them and you realise that they might be happier now than they were with you. Can anyone see what I'm talking about? Does anyone know? I see some nods. Also named Ed.
Sheeran?
Yes.
Ooh.
So Ed Sheeran has a song called Happier that it's exactly the same theme. Have you heard the song?
I haven't, no.
You must listen to it.
I will, and I'll write him a letter.
You should write him a strongly worded letter.
Yeah.
I'm sure his P.O. box is available somewhere online.
I'm sure.
And you can tell him what you think.
I'm going to go after Ed Sheeran.
Only positive things can come of this.
Actually, the amount of music I've ripped up and no one's come after me, so maybe I'll let it lie.
Karma does tend to come back round, but still. Great compliment.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I didn't realise.
So we're here now in New York and you're playing in Berlin.
Berlin's
the venue, which is in Lower East Side.
Yes, not the country. On the poster it just says Berlin without specifying New York, and I think a lot of Germans were quite
They got
upset.
too excited.
Yeah.
Did you actually have to tell some Germans that you weren't coming?
No, I had to tell the people in my band that we weren't playing in Germany, actually.
We're not going interrailing, I'm sorry, but we are going on a US tour.
Our bass player was like, my God, that's a long journey from Berlin to LA. And I was like, no, it's in New York, sorry about that.
So you've been in Toothless for, it's been about a year and a half in total, has it?
Yeah, I've been doing this for about a year and a half.
And to be playing in the US is pretty awesome.
Certainly,
so tell me about some of the steps now that have happened to bring you to this place where you are today. And we want to hear all about, obviously, the background being in Bombay Bicycle Club too. But first of all, Toothless, a year and a half, 3 records in, and you're here in the US.
So the beginning of Toothless, well, we stopped touring with Bombay at the end of 2014. So I guess that's a little over a year and a half. And I was kind of in the wilderness for a bit, wondering what to do with my life. And then realised I'm incredibly unqualified to do anything else, so got to stick with the music thing.
Unfortunately.
And then, just started writing and recording music, which I'd done always with Bombay, but on the back burner, as something I'd always wanted to do later on. And did it. Put the record together. I signed with Island Records in the UK and Rostrum over here, who have Wiz Khalifa, I believe. So it's me and Wiz. I'll get him to feature on the next record.
Yeah.
Put the record out, started recording the EP and started playing shows. So I put a band together. On record, it's just me playing and writing and recording everything. But as a live entity, it's something completely different. And I'd consider it a band, They all add something.
I read a quote that you said it wasn't until after Bombay Bicycle Club that you made the decision to become a musician. So what was that time like for you when Bombay Bicycle Club disbanded after 10 years, which is a huge amount of time? So you were 16 when you started, were you?
I was 15 when we started doing Bombay Bicycle Club. Yeah, what I meant by that was we started Bombay Bicycle Club and I didn't intend to be a musician. I just joined a band and then it happened to do well and you're always going to do that. But that wasn't really my intention. I kind of fell into it. And it was only when Bombay Bicycle Club finished that I realized I genuinely did, want to make music and wanted to have a go at it.
And were you writing music the whole time while you were in that band?
Yeah. I've been playing in bands, terrible bands since I was 12. It's just that one happened to do well. But yeah, I've always been making music.
And did you sing while you were in Bombay Bicycle Club?
No, I wasn't allowed to do that.
Yeah, so what was that like when you were in the band? So like obviously you can sing and you can play instruments, but you were the bass player.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, hey, I could do this too? Or was it more like you were just content being the bass player and enjoying the ride?
I was listening to an interview with Dave Grohl the other day, and someone asked him the same question, and he was like, why would I have ruined what was good? I don't know, I don't think you should let your ego get in the way. I could make music myself. If I wrote songs, it wouldn't have been Bombay Bicycle Club. I had a place doing that. I don't need to satisfy my ego particularly. So I played the bass, And then when that finished, it was my time to do something else. But, that was my part in that band.
And as Bombay Bicycle Club was going on, did you ever toy with the idea of, starting the solo act anyway? Did you know, was it percolating that you would, ultimately do that, or...?
Yeah, I always wanted to do it. With Bombay, in 2014, we toured for 10 months of the year, so I could make music in my spare time, but I couldn't really commit to it fully. It was only when that band finished that I could kind of fully put my time into doing this, which is what I did. I'm glad I did it too. I think I'd have really, really missed out and regretted not doing it.
Yeah. And I guess what are some of the new things that you've learnt now as being the lead singer, compared to playing bass?
I have to talk. Now, I could just kind of...
You talked before, though, and when Bombay Bicycle would do interviews, were you more of the quiet one, and then Jack would do the talking, or how did it work?
Yeah, well, they were his songs. He was a singer, so the brunt of the talking fell on him, whereas now I can't really stand there silently. I've got to step up, which is fine.
Just give me yes or no answers.
I can nod.
Yeah,
that's
basically fine.
I got good at nodding in Bombay Bicycle Club. No, talking like this is fine, but in between songs and stage, I have no idea what to say.
Yeah.
As you'll see if you come to the gig tomorrow, I don't know. This is about all I've got. No, on stage. No, this is good. I'm happy here.
We could just replay this interview
in
between songs.
But yeah, or you could come on. We could do a little Q&A between.
I could do Q&A.
I would absolutely love that.
So what was that song about? What was that song about? Anyone have any questions in the audience? I think it would go really great.
That'd be fantastic.
It would go great. What are some of the other new experiences? Is there anything that you learned in Bombay Bicycle Club that you were like, wow, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be able to be doing this now? Any hard difficulties or difficult times that you had while in the band that are now you're glad happened as being a solo artist?
The whole thing, we navigated the music industry from when we were kind of 15, so when people are in it for the wrong reasons or are kind of want to do music for the wrong reasons, who to avoid, everything, just kind of the way the business works. I made all the mistakes the first time round, or we all did collectively, and actually did it right for the most part, so, yeah. And
then for the name Toothless.
Yeah.
I have to ask.
I think I shot myself in the foot with that one.
No, it's great. I think it's such a good name because it's so random and it really provokes people to listen, to really be curious of what the music sounds like, because you're not giving anything away. With the name, it's just a random word that leaves people guessing.
My mum said, this isn't the reason, there's a better answer there. You're born without teeth and you die without teeth. I like that.
That is a good reason.
The reason I called it Toothless was... There was a picture I saw by a guy called Raymond Pettibon, who's actually from the east coast of America.
Okay.
And it's a tiger biting off a boy's head. And the caption says, even toothless, she can bite off a boy's head. And I like the idea of something being underestimated, Even something that's toothless still has a lot of bite and power. And coming from Bombay Bicycle Club as a bass player, I don't think anyone expected me to do this. Bass players of bands I really don't think very much of, and it's kind of a common joke. Drummers and bass players don't do much, don't say anything very much. So it's kind of a nod towards that. However, might have shot myself in the foot. you know.
I don't know, self-deprecation is always great.
Thank you.
It makes you all the more likable.
Thanks for all that, yeah.
Exactly.
It's my main card.
So in terms of social media and for new bands, because I know Bombay Bicycle Club has a huge social media following, and is that something that, is Toothless like the new thing where you're like, no, I'm Ed Nash for Toothless, or is Bombay Bicycle Club something that you're happy to talk about?
I don't really know how to navigate that one.
Yeah.
I loved Bombay Bicycle Club. I had a great time. I don't regret it at all. And I wouldn't want people to think that I'm kind of pushing it away, because I'm not. I'm very, very happy to talk to people about it. At the same time, you know, this is something different. So if people want Bombay Bicycle Club kind of take two or think it's an extension of that, it's really not. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely loved it. Friends with all the guys. Like, we'll continue to be friends with them. But that's finished there. And
Jack Stedman co-produced the album, right?
Yeah, he did.
So are you still all working together on, does everyone have a solo project now? Are you all kind of collaborating with each other's solo things, or how's it going?
So me and Jack made this record together. He's releasing a record next month, actually, under the name Mr. Dukes. Sirens, the drummer from Bombay, plays in Toothless. And Jamie has gone to King's College University to study war.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a different
Quite a change
type
from
of
playing the
solo
guitar.
artistry.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then for the band itself now, it's not just yourself, is it? So there's Liz Lawrence, I know, is a singer.
Liz, that's actually Liz there.
This
is our manager.
Oh, very good.
These are all my friends. This is my girlfriend. I'm not even kidding. The haggard lady is my girlfriend.
Where are you?
I'm not in this. The
Okay.
top of my head isn't particularly photogenic, unfortunately.
So you didn't make the cut?
No, I didn't make the cut.
You're actually in the photo, but they photoshopped you out.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
okay.
We went to an estate, with a high-rise walkway, and we took all these photos. But yeah, Liz is in the band and is in New York at the moment, however. Mm-hmm. I think she's doing some sightseeing.
So she's going to be performing with you tomorrow night?
She is, yeah.
In Berlin. And then how many other people are in the band?
3 other people. Are they?
Okay.
They're on the back cover. They didn't make the front. So drummer from Bombay Bicycle Club playing drums, friend of mine called Rosa playing keys and singing, and a friend called Dave playing bass.
And I know that the cover art for the EP is also really interesting.
Yeah.
So we don't see it here, but it's actually nine different versions of your face. 9
different versions of my face.
So you didn't make the cover of the album, but you made sure that you made the cover of the EP.
I was so annoyed by that. I had to be on all of the covers.
You're getting 9 of me this time.
9 of me.
And it's Oliver Weeks from the Maccabees, right?
Orlando Weeks from the
Orlando
Maccabees.
Weeks,
Yeah.
Who did the cover art?
Yeah, so like Bombay Bicycle Club, the Maccabees have decided to kind of take a break from playing in that band. I think for much the same reason, they wanted to do something else, and he's a painter. So a couple of months ago, he messaged me about this record and said how much he liked it and that he was painting. And if I ever wanted anything done, he'd love to do it. So I kind of immediately called him out on it. I'm not sure if he was just saying it to be nice or not.
Did you send him a picture of your face? Or you just
FaceTimed him
like, do it now, draw me?
I sent him many, many pictures of my face.
Did you actually, as a joke?
Regretting. No.
Okay.
So he can actually paint from it. So the cover is 9 pictures of my face, painted by Orlando. They're absolutely beautiful. He did a good job.
And why did you decide to do that?
I like the link between someone from the Maccabees who are in a similar position doing something else and me kind of having gone off doing something else as well. I thought that tied in very well. And then he's really an amazing painter. Again, aside from the Maccabees, that's something he does incredibly well. I think it's beautiful. And
then in terms of that, how is in my opinion, I guess I would do music interviews. I'm not a musician, but I always am very steadfast in saying that the UK music scene is very different to the US in terms of the vibe of a lot of the successful music and the touring and the different venues. And then I feel like in the UK sometimes it's a lot more guerrilla almost. There's a lot more emerging artists that are given stages to perform on. In your opinion, though, as an artist, how do you think they're different? I think in that respect, there's loads of guerrilla gigs and things going on over here as well. I think the grass is always greener. Grass is greener either side of the pond, kind of thing. The kind of music that's coming out is different, I would say. Different scenes, different kind of
small pockets and countercultures, groups of people, and that's what's exciting about it. You know, I was listening to in fact, that book is coming out, I think, this week, Meet Me in the Bathroom, which is about the New York scene from 2001 to 2011. And they're talking about the kind of the emergence of the new rock revolution and the Strokes and Interpol and all of those people. Which, you know, that didn't happen in the UK, that didn't happen in London. That was around here with all the small bars and venues. So, I don't know, I think they're probably all the same. You just kind of assume something different is happening somewhere else.
I guess so, because different sounds, you assume the scene is a bit different.
Yeah.
And then in terms of people who've influenced you, like who can we hear influence from in the Toothless music?
As I said before, Sufjan Stevens I absolutely love. And then lyrically, you know, people that tell stories, people that use stories to convey their own message. People keep on being like, sounds like Bombay Bicycle Club. And it annoys me so much because, obviously it does. That's something I did for 10 years. Yeah. So there's obviously going to be parts of that in there. But so I guess.
What's the B?
Yeah, I know. Like, well, it's not worth mentioning, I don't think.
Do you think it sounds like Bombay Bicycle Club?
No, not particularly. I think if someone else released this record, you know, no one would make the Bombay connection. It's just that I happen to do that.
Yeah.
But also, I think I get a pass with that, you know.
Yeah, it's like, so what if it does? 10 years of my life. It reminds me, have you ever heard of Duke Special?
Duke Special.
Do you remember him? He was a singer-songwriter.
I don't know.
A bit of Death Cab for Cutie.
Loved Death Cab for Cutie, yeah.
I stopped there. There was two people that it really reminded me of.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Absolutely love Death Cab.
That's my comparison. I think we have a few questions in here from the audience.
Hey, Ed. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you.
What was the most challenging song to produce?
To produce on the record? Probably the second song, Sisyphus, which I talked about earlier. I did that one all myself, and I'd never produced a song from, you know, start to finish. And the original version I did was kind of this Grimes-inspired K-pop, J-pop song, which was absolutely terrible. And I wanted it to stay like that. I had this artistic vision, and my manager, you know, continued to tell me how bad it was and finally stepped in and made me re-record it with guitars, which took a long time, and it dented my pride, so that was probably the hardest one.
How often does that happen, I guess, as an artist, where, you know, when you think something is really good, and then other people's opinions are, of course, valuable, but at the same time, you have to draw the line sometimes of what you think is good and inherent to who you are and what you want to say as an artist. Like, how do you know when to take the other opinions or then just take them with a pinch of salt and not take them at all?
I think you have to surround yourself with people you trust and then actually know that you trust them when you get their opinion, their honest opinion. Because you get a lot of yes people, you know. Like I'll play people songs that are actually I know are bad, and they'll be like, "That's fantastic."
Do you have like a little test where you play them like a song that you know is actually shit and not by you at all, and if they say it's good, then you're not getting any more music?
I play my girlfriend the songs that I write.
Okay.
And I always think they're good when I write them. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. And she'll say they're good regardless, but there's kind of a difference in the good reaction. You know, she'll be like, "Oh, that's good," and she'll kind of be playing on her phone or looking away.
So you've learned to read
and I'm
her.
like, that's not actually good, yeah.
Oh, so that's comforting to know, though, as a girlfriend, that you could always just nod your head and say it's good and not hurt anyone's feelings, but then know by your body language that you're giving the real answer.
If she gets very excited, I know it's better than just good.
Yeah. And who else do you play your music for? Do you have like a list of people that you'd often send your new stuff to?
You know, the guys in the band in Toothless, the guys in Bombay Bicycle Club, my manager, who obviously gave me the advice with that song Sisyphus, which I'm glad I trusted, because the other one was absolutely terrible in hindsight.
Which might be reworked into a future EP.
Yeah.
Grimes is a great person to be influenced by.
Oh, she's fantastic.
As is K-pop.
K-pop, J-pop, all good, but I don't think that's my forte, unfortunately.
We have another question, I think.
Hi, Ed.
Hey.
If you could collaborate with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Anyone in the world? I always think about people I would like to collaborate with, because it's something I did a lot on this record. It's something I'd like to keep doing, and it adds like a different dimension to the song. Hopefully it's not gratuitous. I like it to add to what's going on in the song. There's a guy, do you know Guy Garvey from Elbow? It's ridiculous that I'm saying that because, you know, it's not very fitting with this kind of music, but I would love to hear him sing one of the songs. I love his voice. Angel Olsen, I think her voice is absolutely fantastic. Girl called Julia Jacqueline, who again has a beautiful voice, fantastic lyricist. I'd love to see what they come up with and hear them singing over the music that I make.
On the note of collaborations, really quick, I know the Staves.
Yeah.
On Sirens, right?
They sing on the Sirens.
Can you tell us very quickly the story of how that happened is quite interesting.
So they covered a Bombay Bicycle Club song and sent it to us. And they were like, what do you think of this? And it was really good. So we were like, that's fantastic.
So this is while you're in Bombay Bicycle Club?
No, this is afterwards. But they were kind of doing it, just to kind of be nice and be friendly about the whole thing.
And you knew who they were?
Absolutely.
And you got this cover?
Got the cover.
Asking for your opinion.
And at the end of the email from them, they were like, if you ever want us to sing on a song, please let us know. And again, I just emailed back immediately and I was like, yes. And it was definitely them being polite, but they honored it. And I had the song, The Sirens, waiting for, not for them necessarily, but it's a perfect fit. A song about the sirens, these kind of ladies who attract sailors with their beautiful voices.
They're just like 3 mega babes. They're sisters, right?
They're 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Best voices. They're absolutely incredible.
Full package.
Yeah, it was literally that's my favorite song on the record, actually. It's, it perfectly encapsulates the idea of the story, having them sing on it.
Meant to be.
Yeah, it was.
And I think we've one more question.
Hi, Ed.
Hey,
I was wondering what your favorite part was about recording and producing a solo project rather than working with the full other band.
My favorite part? There's a lot of good and bad parts of it. I think the best part is just being in control, really. I know that sounds incredibly obvious to say, but it's really rewarding and kind of empowering to have all of, make all the decisions and for it to it all rests upon you. And playing in other bands where, it's 3 or 4 people who are responsible for something, having that pressure and having it pay off is really, really rewarding. I had a really good time doing it, actually. I'm glad I stepped out and did it.
And so what's next? So we know, are you doing some festivals in the UK? For anyone watching, because I know we're in the US now, but people watch this all over the world. So what sort of tours are you going to be doing?
Well, playing Berlin in New York tomorrow, playing LA.
Berlin in New York.
Berlin in New York. LA 2 days after at the Brooklyn Theatre.
Okay.
Then we're doing Secret Garden Party in the UK, Reading and Leeds, a few other small boutique festivals. And then I'm going on tour with a band called Hippocampus.
Huh.
Who are American.
Nice. And when's that happening?
That is happening October, and that's around Europe and the UK.
So you have a very busy schedule ahead.
I know, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Toothless, and best of luck with everything, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.